Okay, so if I were to tell you that Led Zeppelin frontman Robert Plant doesn't get enough respect, you'd probably tell me that I'm on crack. Because how could Robert Plant possibly deserve any more respect? Because anybody who's into rock and roll, particularly classic rock, would probably agree that if there's a Mount Rushmore of rock and roll frontmen, Robert Plant deserves to be on there. But I'm going to tell you why he deserves more respect. Now, if you like rock and roll, I'm sure you probably know Robert Plant, frontman from Led Zeppelin. They had that great run in the 70s. Started with their debut in 69, up through In Through the Outdoor. 10 years later, and of course the band disbanded after the untimely death of drummer John Bonham. Of course, Robert Plant and Jimmy Page reunited for an ill-fated performance at Live Aid in 1985 with drummer Phil Collins. But In Through the Outdoor was pretty much the end of Led Zeppelin as everyone knows it. Now, Jimmy Page and Robert Plant would reunite again in 1994 for the Unleaded album. They did a performance on MTV as a part of their Unplugged series. When they came back, I guess they were looking to do something a little fresh. What they did was what you'd call probably reinterpretations of old Led Zeppelin songs. They had a bunch of Middle Eastern musicians on stage with them. I think they were Moroccan musicians. And they did a bunch of reworkings of old Led Zeppelin songs. At the time, it really didn't matter what they did because it was Robert Plant and Jimmy Page. You know, Jimmy Page could have went up there with a toothbrush, plucking a piece of dental floss tied to it, and Robert Plant could have been farting into a seashell. It wouldn't have mattered because it was Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. They could have done no wrong. Now, personally, the No Quarter album they made, Unleaded, I remember at the time thinking, yeah, it's pretty cool, but I was more caught up in the whole Page Plant aspect, and I recently went back and listened to that album. Age hasn't really been too kind to it. I didn't think it was that good. Maybe some of you out there disagree with me, but the subsequent tour, No Quarter, where they went out and did a bunch of Led Zeppelin songs the regular way, was fantastic. I actually saw them here in Detroit at the Palace of Auburn Hills, and that's the only concert I've ever been to where I actually bought 2 t-shirts. I couldn't decide which t-shirt I wanted to get, so I got 2 t-shirts. Before or since, I'd never done that at a concert. That's how big of a deal it was that I had to get 2 t-shirts because it was Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. In subsequent years, in spite of being offered numerous times large sums of money to reunite, Jimmy Page and Robert Plant have not done it. I think mainly it's been because of Robert Plant. Jimmy Page has been gung-ho to do it. He even went so far as to get a Robert Plant replacement, David Coverdale, who worked with, had his own career with Whitesnake and Deep Purple, where they did a Coverdale Page album. They were actually all set to go on a huge tour, presumably playing that record and a lot of Led Zeppelin songs. But that tour was put on hold when Plant decided to get together with Page to do the No Quarter thing. But in ensuing years, they've been offered numerous times large sums of money to reunite. Page has always been on board. Plant's been very resistant. You might know Jimmy Page toured with the Black Crowes in 2000, 2001, where they played a lot of Led Zeppelin songs. But Plant has always been resistant. In fact, when Page and Plant reunited in 2007 for a big show, they were offered $200 million for a reunion tour, and Robert Plant said no. He said he didn't want to tour like a bunch of old men following the Rolling Stones around. Now, Plant still tours solo. He's toured with Alison Krauss. He goes out on the road. Usually when he plays Led Zeppelin songs, they're called totally reinterpretations. He doesn't do them the way they were originally recorded. And interestingly enough, I recently saw this cameo from J.J. French from Twisted Sister. This is courtesy of Sinkin' Stanley. I'll link to it below if you want to watch it. But he's talking about how Robert Plant doesn't go out on the road and sing the old Led Zeppelin songs the way they were recorded, because he just can't do it anymore at this point. Even if he tunes them way down, he just can't do the songs justice. So he'd rather just not do them or totally redo them, totally different, rather than going out there and giving a subpar performance. Now this is precisely the reason why I think Robert Plant deserves more respect than he gets, because he refuses to go out and whore himself out and whore out the Led Zeppelin catalog for a paycheck. Now, a guy like Robert Plant's got the luxury. I'm sure he's financially set. He doesn't need the money. You know, he's not a guy like, I don't know, maybe some of these guys out there like Stephen Pearcy, or, you know, maybe some of these other guys from the 80s who are out there who need the money. So they're out on the road pretending to be that guy from 1986 with the spandex and the makeup and the teased up hair. I mean, Robert Plant's not out there trying to be Robert Plant from 1975 because he knows he just can't do it. And you gotta respect that. He's not out there on stage lip syncing, even though he does occasionally go out there with his shirt unbuttoned, which, I mean, come on, Robert, I don't know about that, you know. Button up that shirt. You're 75 years old, man. I mean, I don't know what it is with these old guys. They take Viagra and, you know, they think they're some kind of a sex symbol still. 75 years old. But anyways, Plant's not out there trying to pretend to be Robert Plant from 1975. He's just doing his thing, and you gotta respect that, man. He doesn't want to sully the Led Zeppelin legacy, you know, like a lot of these other groups out there. The Def Leppards and the Motley Crues, who are out there lip syncing and playing the tracks. And there's even been speculation that Tommy Lee is even drum syncing, which seems ludicrous. I just don't get it. Or a band like Kiss, who's been busted lip syncing. Ozzy Osbourne's been known to use a ghost singer when he's on stage. Or you might remember Meatloaf. Remember the time when he passed out, and even after he was passed out, he kept singing? But you know, the fact is, there's big crowds out there who are willing to pay big money to see these groups, and they don't really care about musical integrity. They want to hear the songs just like the record. So these groups now, they have these elaborate setups with pre-recorded tracks, lip sync vocals, and all this stuff. Because folks are willing to pay to see it. They just want to be entertained. They don't care about the musical integrity. So hey, why not go out there and exploit the buying public? But as far as other guys out there who are still killing it, I mean, Mick Jagger's killing it every night out there. Fantastic. Steven Tyler, until recently, was having throat problems, was out there killing it, doing a great job, even though I know Aerosmith has used their share of backing tracks. I remember back in the early 90s, they got busted doing a lip sync thing during Love in an Elevator when they all do the harmony vocal part. But a guy like Billy Joel is out there killing it every night. I'm assuming he's still singing live. I even watched a recent video of Todd Rundgren from a few years ago playing I Saw the Light. Now, he doesn't sound anything like the Todd Rundgren from the 70s. His voice is a lot lower now, but he's done a good job of making it work, making the adjustment, and the song still sounds like the song. You still recognize the song. It just sounds like a guy with a much lower voice singing it. And if you watch the video on YouTube, there's a lot of snide comments like, oh, what happened to his voice? Well, the dude's 75 years old, man. But he's done a good job reworking it, and he's still out there killing it every night. Doesn't sound like the 25-year-old Todd Rundgren, but he sounds like 75-year-old Todd Rundgren, and he sounds pretty good. So But that's why I respect the hell out of Robert Plant. He's not out there with the tight pants, with the hair curlers stuffed down the front, strutting around out there, lip syncing, pretending to be somebody from 50 years ago. He's out doing his thing. He's turned out a lot of money to exploit the Led Zeppelin catalog, and you gotta respect the hell out of that. Cheers to Robert Plant, one of the GOATs. Well, what do you guys think? Do you think Plant deserves respect for not going out there and lip syncing and making as much money he can off the Led Zeppelin legacy? And what are some of the guys you think who are still out there killing it? Maybe there's some metalheads out there. We want to give a shout out to James Hetfield, who's out there every night with Metallica doing it to it. Dave Mustaine, I know he's out there. Rob Halford. What do you guys think? I hope you dug the video, man. We'll see you next time.
Who's here?